My whole why and mission is to really allow women to reimagine their relationship with money.
You are tuning into the Level Up Your Business show with Saskia and Tamzin of Upheld Mastermind. Welcome back. To those of you who have been here before, thank you for coming back. And to our new listeners, you are in for a treat today. We have something very exciting, don't we, Saskia?
We have a very special guest today, and I'm so excited about this episode. A few weeks ago, we were in her podcast. Now she's here on the show, and I'm sure it's going to be a lovely one.
I know. So, Raechelle, welcome.
Welcome to the show, Raechelle.
Thank you so much for having me. This is going to be fun. I'm excited.
So exciting, so exciting. So today we're going to be talking all about money, mindset and masterminds. So Raechelle, tell everybody who you are, what you do and why you're here.
Definitely. So who I am, what I do. I am the founder of Her Money Club. It was birthed out of this personal need to really find community with women around talking about money, the money wins, the money challenges, the struggles, but also just having accountability around money. So I created Her Money Club. And that's really a community where we talk about money mindset, financial literacy, and building wealth through businesses and wealth impact. And my whole why and mission is to really allow women to reimagine their relationship with money. It's really, really important to me. It's been something that I've dedicated my own journey to in removing the limiting beliefs I have for myself, but really sharing that knowledge with everyone around me so that we can all imagine a world where we are capable and able to build loads and loads of wealth, and we're not scared of it. We can be responsible for it, and we then make an impact on the world around us in a much bigger way as well.
So it's so impactful, so needed, and just so exciting. So blooming exciting.
Yeah. Well, I really love that topic because you see a lot of people, they struggle with this. They don't even know they're struggling with it. But you see it in these indirect signs, the moment they have to charge a price for something, it's like, who am I daring to charge a price for this? Or they undercharge and then they're stuck in this loop of working 80 hours a week while still not making enough to just, live the life they want to live. So I think that the whole financial literacy and having the conversation about that is so important to do.
Agreed. Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, and I love the word you chose, awareness, right? The awareness is the first step. If you're not even aware of where your financial literacy stands, if you can't quantify it, you don't know how to make it better. You don't know what to focus on. And so that's something I've really tried to bring awareness to so that people can start thinking about it in general and just really allow themselves the opportunity to invest in their education around financial wellness.
Amazing. Amazing. So we're going to do a bit of a deep dive over the course of this episode. But before we do, we've got mastermind on the end of what everybody can see. So we have money, mindset, and mastermind. So you spoke about money, you spoke about mindset. Just talk to us really quickly about the mastermind piece. So kind of how a mastermind can or is helping with the money and the mindset.
Yeah, this is a really powerful aha moment that I had in my own journey where I joined a mastermind, and within the 3 months I was in that, I quadrupled my prices of what I was doing with coaching. And it really made me realize that having that group think tank, having people that are supportive, having people that are leading the way in expanding everyone in the group into what is possible with money, with business, and with whatever you're working on is really, really powerful. Not to mention the accountability piece. When you show up to the gym and you have an accountability buddy who shows up there with you, you're more often likely to show up. And so same thing with a mastermind. Our mastermind is really helping ambitious women transition out of corporate life into their businesses full-time and get that journey to 100K under their belt so that they can replace their income, so that they can stop playing this game of having energy be split in all these different places. And so what I've seen specifically out of Her Money Club's mastermind is Definitely a lot of increases in prices, but I think more deeply this connection of community around talking about these really scary topics and getting uncomfortable together. And when one person gets uncomfortable, the other one does. And then we just create this momentum and explorative process and really the reimagining of our money stories.
I love that, and especially having those difficult conversations. That's let's talk a little bit about that. And I think that's really where the topic of overcoming your money mindset blocks starts. It's becoming, you already touched base on that a little bit, becoming aware of it. But so, Rachel, what do you see people typically have as their money mindset blocks?
Yeah, this is a good question. I'd say the biggest money mindset I notice in the women that I work with who have very big dreams is not wanting to be responsible for that money. They say they want the money, but then when it really comes down to it, they self-sabotage and they don't have awareness around this either. And they once they have the awareness, realize like, wow, I actually don't want to be responsible for this exponentially more amount of money. And so when we dig into that, it's really like, okay, well, why? Where does that come from? And that could be a lot of different things, but foundationally, it comes from this unworthiness component of like, well, who am I to be capable of handling this amount of money that's, incrementally more than my father made, my mother made, whatever we're making it mean. And so to level ourselves up into building more income for ourselves, building more wealth for ourselves, there's a responsibility factor that comes into play.
Raechelle, that's amazing. And we've been speaking for a long time, and kind of loads of aha moments have come to me, and I know Saskia is exactly the same as we talk through this, because it is so important. So if you could give our audience just one piece of advice, because I know I'm sure what you said is going to resonate with so many people, like, how can they take themselves from feeling everything that you've explained to feeling more in control and able to move forward with this? Like, is there a one answer, or is it so
Yes,
big?
yes, there's one answer. There's one answer that I like to give, and to simplify it. And I mean, that's one of my superpowers, I feel like, with money, is to simplify it, really bring it down to kind of the basics that allows us all to build that foundation to really expand into that possibility. So the 3 steps that I like to share with everyone when they're on this journey, beginning this journey, is the 3 R's. So the first R is to reframe, the second R is to release, and the third R is to renew. So reframe, release, renew. What does that actually mean? So when you become aware of one of these blocks with money, so I don't know that I want to be responsible for this, and this requires really tuning into your thoughts, your feelings, when you're paying a bill, when you are investing in yourself, when you're thinking about making more money or not doing the work that's required to make more money, right? When all of these things are playing out in your life, start to notice what are your thoughts that are coming up. And they're very small and slight, and you have to just create some downtime to either write them out or become aware of them. But once you have some of those, I'm not good with money. Maybe your parents said that money was the devil or money was something, right? They made it mean something. And so that's just replaying in the back of your mind constantly when you try to do new things. Recognize those and reframe them. So the first reframe is, okay, if I use the example of responsible with money and that starts to come up, like, I don't know if I want to be responsible for this. So most people, especially women, like, that lets them off the hook. Like, okay, cool, I don't want to be responsible for this, so I'm not, right? And they move on. But the reframe is that, how can I be? How could I be responsible for this amount of wealth? Can I believe that it's possible, first and foremost, that I can handle this amount of wealth, that I know what to do with it? And if and when I do achieve more income and more wealth for myself, can I learn to figure it out? I don't have to know the answer right now, but can I give myself the opportunity to figure out how? And so reframing yourself out of that limitation allows you to then release the second step, right? Release that limitation, because now you're finding new evidence. Now you're being in practice of, okay, I get to reframe myself. And you create more and more awareness because you then realize how often it's popping up. The second one that usually happens is, well, there's never enough, never enough, never enough, right? And so that happens all over the place too with, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money, not enough this, not right. So the reframe could be, I always have more than enough. I always have more than enough time, more than enough energy, more than enough money. And how can I release some of these limitations I am putting on myself? So those two go hand in hand. And the renewing process really allows you to find the evidence. And this is where journaling can be really, really helpful. Finding the evidence of you actually doing whatever that thing is, right? Finding the evidence that you are responsible with money. Renewing your mindset around, okay, I can do this. How can I? And what is possible when I do? When I start to step into being responsible with money, I notice I actually care about looking at my investments. When I start to be responsible for my money, I actually set a money date for myself on a month over month basis, and I show up to it and I look at my money with myself. And that feels really good to be aware, to be certain with my money. So renewing that belief system, finding the evidence that it's possible to do that new thing, allows you to create a whole new pattern of how you want to operate with money.
I love that. And what I really think about it, so typically money is something, it's with you your whole life. Basically, the moment as a kid when you realize you can't just take a lollipop from the store, you have to pay for that. That's like money is a thing. And a lot of people, myself included for a very long time, you're not aware of your money mindset, and you can get in this mindset of money or life is happening to me, so it's always not enough, it's always not my fault, it's life doing things to me so that I don't have money. And that puts us in this position that we don't have to take charge of it. It's like, because it's happening to us, we can't do anything with us. And actually making that mindset shift to reframe, release, renew, you're actually taking the ownership of your money again. And I think that's the most powerful step of getting into that space of having financial abundance.
Yeah.
You make it sound so simple. Like, it's literally years and years and years, decades, it's been this huge part of my life, as I'm sure it has other people. And everything that you say just resonates so much. But it's like so simple. You just reframe, release, renew. That simple. But there's a lot more work involved in it, isn't there? There's a lot more than just that. Can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's walk through this, because what actually happens day to day, it's like, cool, you know the tactic, you know what you get to do, but what actually happens throughout your day? You aren't aware, right? First step is that awareness. So if you aren't giving yourself the time and the space to become aware, then you're not going to do the work. So that might require you to spend 5 or 10 minutes in the morning or at night thinking about it, journaling about, literally sitting, not having any distractions, and thinking about money. What do I think about money? Literally have a conversation in your head about that dialogue, right? So if you're not spending the time being aware, then it's not going to be an opportunity to make progress. The second part of that is, people get stuck with the reframe, well, this is just how it is, right? I'm just not interested in being responsible with money, or this is just how it is. I'm really content. They've convinced themselves, right? I'm really just content with where I'm at, and I'm content with the money I make, and I'm just not going to grow anymore. And if we're not growing, we're dying technically. So it's you want to have further goals, even if they're just incremental goals to push you further along. And so if you're not being honest with yourself, which I'm definitely guilty of not being honest with myself. in where I get to go next. And so that can be another, crux to this whole experience. And it doesn't feel good, right? It doesn't always feel good to be honest with yourself about like why I'm telling myself this story that this is just how it is and I can't control it. Or I'm blaming the world because of the situation. And so it requires a lot of grace with yourself and forgiveness for yourself to move that needle forward.
Well, but I think you can't all. I don't think you can do all the money work just by yourself, because at least I know I'm guilty of it. But you have these money excuses. You have these money lies. You tell yourself, this is just the way it is, and who's going to challenge that thought with you? And I think that's really where a money mastermind comes in, where you have your peers, where you have your tribe that actually look you in the eye and tell you like, well, is that actually the case? Are you sure that the world is so fixed that you will never make any more money than this, right?
Mhm. Yep, agreed. And it sometimes requires hearing it out of someone else's mouth, right?
Mm.
They finally click and they realize they're not being honest with themselves, and you hear it and you recognize, oh shit, I haven't been honest with myself either. Like, I feel you, girl. So I think those moments happen constantly, and we're like, okay, we can have a good laugh about it and recognize like we're all in this together and we all get to work on it together.
It's those aha moments, isn't it? It's that, do you know what, I've been telling myself this and I believe this, and I do believe that it's true to me, but then you hear someone else saying something, you're like, wow, I've missed that. I haven't even noticed that about the situation. And it's those aha moments that I think really, really cement it all together.
Yeah, I agree. Mhm.
Well, I think it's not only having those thoughts, but also seeing other people break through those challenges,
Yeah.
overcoming those challenges. Then you're like, wait,
Yes.
I'm in that mindset. He or she was in that mindset. They overcame it, and now these are the results of it. Maybe I too should let go of that mindset.
Yeah, it's kind of this whole if she can do it, I can do it too. Like, and that is a very powerful motivator because when you see someone who you resonate with and who is like you, and you see them do something that you didn't think was possible for yourself, now you're like, oh, cool. Yeah, like no big deal. We can do this. We got this.
And it's so, it's like I said before, you make it sound so simple. Before I was having conversations with you, and before I met you, and before kind of my eyes were opened up to the possibility and how much actually we hold ourselves back, I never understood it. I never got it. But it's so powerful, isn't it? It's just so powerful. And you have so many transformational stories about your clients, don't you, and how you've really helped them to change their lives.
Mhm.
It's just so exciting. It's
Yeah.
you know, you must love your job. I know we love our job, but you must love what you do.
I am in love with it. Absolutely. It's not even a job.
Yeah, right.
Like if I can just show up to these conversations and listen to it all unfold. What's magical about it too is like there's not a whole lot I have to do. It's just guiding someone through their own conversation that's happening in their head. It's like, okay, I can do that. I can be the guide.
It's amazing.
I love that. So, Raechelle, you have an amazing money-focused mastermind where you help women get over their money blocks, challenge them over there, get through that conversation in their mind. So can you tell us a little bit how you help people in that mastermind? So we've already spoken about, seeing something happen with another person, how they overcome it, and then people, pull each other up from there. Could you give some other examples of how people grow in that mastermind?
Yeah, it's interesting because, our lives, yes, money is involved, but there's so many moving pieces beyond just money. So a lot of what we discuss in the mastermind is how to grow your business, how to really find more opportunities that align with what it is that you want to show up for in your gifts. So it's that life money integration piece and really understanding that you can't just focus solely on the money and grind and like figure that out without, burning out some other parts of your life. So how do we actually integrate the two so that you have everything that you want, which is the time freedom, which is the energy freedom, which is the money freedom, because they coincide together, and enabling people to really think about it more holistically than just through this one lens of money or one lens of how I can live my life, and like how can they be just really harmonized together. So a specific example, one of the girls in our mastermind is looking to transition out of her corporate job and into consulting. And a lot of our deep dive sessions revolve around who she gets to target, because she really could go two directions. She could help businesses or she could help individual clients. And so it's really honing in on what her skills are, allowing herself to play in this new possibility of how can you make money now very quickly in terms of getting to your goals, but also develop a plan to create those milestones to expand into. So it's just really, I call it a roadmap, because like we all want this big end destination, but we don't know what the minuscule little steps are to get there. And so in the mastermind, one of my biggest pet peeves with coaching is actually like, it's a 3-month mastermind or a 4-month mastermind. It's very short, in my opinion. Like life is long. So I feel the need to have much longer forms of masterminds and groups together. And ours is a year long, because it's really important to see those milestones through and be able to have kind of the spaciousness to do that. So a lot of what we discuss is really just the small celebrations along the way, the small challenges along the way, but all of those small pieces add up over 3 months, 6 months, 9 months to these much grander things that align with our desires and what we want for the long term.
And I love that, because that length of time, it means that the people in the mastermind, they can really connect and get to know each other and come onto those calls and be vulnerable, because they trust each other. And that doesn't happen quickly, does it? That trust and that vulnerability and that feeling comfortable with crying, laughing, all of the emotions, and just sharing it all. I love that. Yeah.
Well, it's something we see at UpUp as well, right? The true value of a mastermind is not day one. It's not week one. It's when you're in there a few months. Of course, you have your increments in the first month as well. But after a few weeks, a few months, you really get to know each other. Everyone in your tribe, in your hub, in your mastermind, and that's when you start trusting each other and start creating that synergy, that 1 + 1 is 3. That if someone is doing something, you're thinking, hey, I can help you with this advice, or I am willing to open myself up to these possibilities. And that's really when that magic starts to happen. So typically a mastermind of 3 or 4 months, it's really short, because that's the moment, the lift off happens, and then you stop.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. It's that magic we talk about all the time, that sprinkle of magic that just keeps coming back and coming in.
I love it.
Well, okay. Speaking of magic, so for the listeners who tuned in last week, we spoke about group programs and masterminds and how they are a perfect complement to each other. And the fact that we have Raechelle here is, of course, no coincidence. Because Raechelle, you have this amazing mastermind, this amazing program, the Her Money Club. And when we met Raechelle, we actually realized, well, how perfect would it be if we can complement that, or if we can power it up with the mastermind concept that we have over at UpHub, so that everything that your members, your clients learn, that we keep them accountable for it, that we help them, support them, create habits around it. And that's how the Her Money Club, powered by UpHub Mastermind, came to be.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which is so exciting, and it's a journey that actually is exciting for us. It's exciting for our members, our future members. It's exciting for everybody in Raechelle's community, in our community. It's something that really is going to be so magical for the people that join. So how can people find out more? How can people come and be part of, you know, her money club powered by Up Hub Masterminds? How can they find you, Raechelle?
Yeah, the best way to find me is through Facebook groups. If you type in Her Money Club, it will pop right up. You can also find us on Instagram under Her Money Club Community. And we have a lot of really great, juicy nuggets that get posted all the time in both of those places. We're doing a 30-day challenge right now, which, you know, I don't know when this will be launched, but you'll be able to have access to it after we go through the live version. So it just allows you to create that momentum and decide if a mastermind is going to be right for you, because you want that long-term support and accountability and tribe to build out your vision with money and with life.
So exciting, so exciting. So before we close, Raechelle, have you got a final piece of advice for our listeners?
My advice is to find the evidence that you have more than enough. Find the evidence that you have more than enough money, more than enough time, more than enough energy, and document it. That has been a game changer for me. When I left my corporate job, I was constantly operating on go mode and not recognizing when, hey, I've done enough for today, or hey, I have enough money, or I have enough. And just reframing that for me was probably one of the most powerful experiences that I've had to date. So more to come.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you for joining us today, Raechelle. It was a blast having you on the show.
Absolutely. It's been, oh, thank you so much. And so excited with our joint venture together. It's something that I know is really dear to all of our hearts. It's something that we're all so passionate about. So excited for this journey. And thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for being here. All the links that Raechelle has mentioned are going to be in the notes below. Check them out. Go and check Raechelle out. She is absolutely fabulous.
She's amazing. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, see you all next week. And Raechelle, I'm sure we'll see you again online.
Yep.
Okay,
Bye,
thanks
everyone.
everyone.